The sky above Earth had always been a silent witness to the world's daily struggles, a calm backdrop to the chaos of human life. No one ever imagined it would be the stage for something like this. For years, humanity had watched as the stars twinkled in the night sky, never suspecting that we were being watched, measured, and even underestimated by the countless alien civilizations across the universe. They saw us as a primitive species, one that lacked the power to challenge them, one that was easily overlooked, easily ignored. But that was before the sky itself split open. It started as a faint crack, a shimmer in the atmosphere that caught the eyes of astronomers first, a flicker, like a tear in reality, and then it widened, cutting the sky like a blade. The world held its breath as the shimmering rift grew larger. There were no signs of danger at first, no sudden flashes of light or explosions. It was just a quiet tear, so subtle, so unreal, that the first reports were dismissed as optical illusions, glitches in satellite data. But soon, the truth became undeniable. High above, hidden behind the veil of the atmosphere, colossal warships began to emerge from the rift. They weren't small, they weren't sleek, and they weren't the kind of ships you'd expect from the movies. These warships were massive, incomprehensibly so. Towering behemoths, each one dwarfing the tallest skyscrapers, each one seemingly capable of wiping entire cities off the map with a single shot. These weren't just ships, they were symbols of power, alien power, ready to make their move. Panic spread like wildfire across the globe as nations scrambled to make sense of what they were seeing. Governments fell into disarray, their leaders unsure of what to do. People looked to the skies, terror gripping their hearts. Who were these invaders? What did they want? And most chilling of all, why had they waited until now? Was this the beginning of humanity's end? As the alien ships hovered silently above, the world's military forces prepared for a fight they didn't understand. The best minds from every corner of the globe tried to make sense of the situation, but every theory fell short. Were these ships a warning, a show of force, or was something far more catastrophic about to happen? Yet in the midst of all the confusion, one thing became painfully clear. Earth was facing an unknown, unstoppable threat. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, something unexpected happened. The warships didn't fire. They didn't attack. They didn't even make a single move. For hours, they lingered in the sky, their dark shapes casting long shadows over the terrified masses below. It was as if they were waiting for something, watching us, studying us. Perhaps they knew something we didn't. And then, with a shudder that could be felt all the way to the core of the planet, the earth itself seemed to awaken. A deep hum vibrated through the ground, low at first, then rising steadily in intensity. People stopped in their tracks, feeling the strange pulse, as if the planet was reacting to the alien presence above. In that moment, something changed. It was as if Earth was sending a message, a silent challenge to the invaders who had dared to invade our skies. Suddenly, the air grew thick with a sense of anticipation, and the skies shifted again. At the edges of the tear in the atmosphere, another shape began to form, something far larger and far more powerful than anything the invaders had ever seen. It wasn't just a ship. It was something different, and it was coming. What could it be? Was it a weapon designed by humans, or had something deeper been unleashed, something ancient and far beyond our understanding? The world held its collective breath, waiting for the answer. The warships above remained motionless, their silence now seeming more like a challenge than ever before. Was this the beginning of a war, or was something more unexpected about to unfold? As the sky trembled and the earth responded to the presence of the alien armada, humanity was faced with a terrifying reality. We had underestimated our enemies, but the war had only just begun, and Earth wasn't going down without a fight. The question now was, could we stand our ground, or would we crumble under the pressure of an overwhelming force from beyond the stars? The answer was still unknown, but one thing was certain: this was a fight humanity wasn't about to lose without showing the universe exactly what we were capable of. Days passed, and the warships remained a constant, unnerving presence in the sky. They didn't move, they didn't fire, and the world's collective heart rate seemed to match the stillness that surrounded the invasion. The silence was maddening. People began to grow restless, and the sense of helplessness began to gnaw at the edges of every community. Governments, military leaders, and scientists all tried to make sense of what was happening, but no one had answers. The world was paralyzed, frozen between fear and confusion, unable to take a single step forward without knowing what would come next. As the days turned into weeks, Dr. Lyons continued her work, unraveling the tangled web of alien signals. What she discovered was nothing short of astonishing. The patterns were more complex than she had ever imagined, and the more she dug, the more she began to realize that these weren't just random signals from an alien race. They were a form of communication, but not in the way humans understood it. These signals were like a coded message, one that spoke directly to the heart of Earth's history, deep, ancient, and intertwined with forces far beyond their current understanding. Dr. Lyon's team began to theorize that the alien ships might not be the true threat at all. Instead, they were a part of something much bigger, something that had been hidden within the fabric of Earth itself for centuries. The frequency signals hinted at long-lost civilizations and even older, more powerful forces that predated human existence. Could these alien ships be trying to contact or awaken something buried beneath the Earth's surface? Something humanity had forgotten or never knew existed? As she continued to study the patterns, a chilling possibility began to emerge. The aliens might not have come to conquer or destroy Earth. They might have come to reclaim something, a forgotten technology, a dormant power, something that could change the fate of the entire galaxy. But the question lingered: had humanity unknowingly been sitting on the precipice of this power all along? And if so, what would the aliens do once they realized the humans weren't just weak, defenseless creatures? They were sitting on a secret that could alter the balance of power in the universe. At the same time, deep beneath the surface, the hidden relics of an ancient civilization were being studied. The engineers and military tacticians had uncovered more than they ever expected: strange machines, devices of unimaginable complexity, and blueprints that seemed to map out a lost history. Some of these machines hummed with energy, as if they were alive, waiting to be activated, but no one knew how to make them work. The technology was far beyond anything humans had ever encountered, and its purpose was unclear, but there was no doubt that it had the potential to change everything. Among the team working on these ancient devices was a young engineer who had grown up hearing stories of Earth's ancient past, tales passed down through generations, of civilizations that rose and fell long before humanity took its first steps. His grandmother had told him stories of a time when Earth wasn't just a blue planet in the vastness of space, but a place of great power, a key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. He dismissed these stories as nothing more than folklore, but now, standing in front of these machines, he wasn't so sure. Could the stories be true? Was Earth once the heart of something far more ancient? And if so, what role did humanity play in all of this? The young engineer's heart raced as he stared at the intricate blueprints, feeling as though he was looking at the key to something far greater than he could comprehend. And then the hum started, faint at first, but growing louder as if the machines themselves were waking up. The tension was palpable. The warships above hadn't moved, but something had shifted beneath the surface. Earth was stirring, reacting to something far beyond the comprehension of those on the ground. The ancient relics weren't just dormant artifacts. They were part of something alive, something that had been waiting for this moment. Across the globe, more and more people began to notice the strange changes. Animals were acting differently, weather patterns were shifting, and the very air felt charged with an energy that wasn't there before. Scientists theorized that the rift in the sky had somehow triggered a reaction deep within the planet, but no one could explain what exactly was happening. Was Earth preparing for something? Was it responding to the alien ships, or was it something else entirely? The world watched in suspense, and no one knew what to expect. Would the aliens make their move? Would humanity find a way to unlock the secrets of these ancient machines before it was too late? Or was there a deeper mystery at play, one that could reshape the course of history? In the quiet moments, as the tension continued to build, one truth began to emerge. Whatever was coming, humanity was no longer passive. The fight for Earth's survival had begun, and the next move was anyone's guess. As the days dragged on, The tension in the air grew thick. The warships remained fixed above Earth, an unblinking eye in the sky, watching, waiting. The silence between the ships and the planet was unbearable, and the world had begun to feel the weight of the unknown. Nations had fortified their defenses, military personnel were on high alert, but no one knew what would happen next. People were tired of waiting for something, anything, to break the stillness, but no one could predict what it would be. Down below, the teams studying the ancient technology were no closer to unlocking its secrets. The hum of the machines had grown louder, reverberating through the walls of the underground facility. They knew they were on the verge of discovering something monumental, but the more they worked, the more elusive the answers became. The young engineer, who had once believed the stories of his grandmother, now felt the weight of those tales pressing down on him. It was as if the machines were testing them, waiting for the right moment to reveal their true power. Meanwhile, Dr. Lyons continued to decipher the alien signals, but the task was becoming more and more overwhelming. The frequencies had become erratic, distorted, as though they were being blocked by something powerful. The data she had gathered indicated that the warships were more than just observers. They were preparing for something. The more she analyzed, the more she understood that these ships were not just waiting for a signal from Earth. They were waiting for the right moment to activate something hidden within the planet itself. Something Earth was unknowingly guarding. The world was on the brink. The air seemed to vibrate with an unseen energy, and the ground felt uncomfortably alive. It wasn't just the machines that were awakening. Earth itself seemed to be reacting to the alien presence. Some scientists began to theorize that the warships had not merely come to Earth to invade. It was possible that they had been drawn here by the planet's power, a force that even the invaders couldn't ignore, and the relics buried beneath the surface were the key to it all. Then, in the dead of night, it happened. A sudden burst of light erupted from the center of the rift in the sky, brighter than anything anyone had seen before. The warships shifted, their massive forms beginning to move, slowly, deliberately. The ground beneath the feet of millions of people trembled as if the Earth itself was responding to the alien ship's movements. The tension in the air was unbearable, and for the first time in days, the world seemed to hold its breath. Dr. Lyon's heart raced as the signals she had been tracking grew louder, clearer, almost as though they were speaking directly to her. The ships were preparing for something catastrophic. The young engineer, standing in the midst of the underground facility, felt the hum of the machines surge, matching the growing intensity of the signals in the sky. It was all coming together. The warships, the relics, the ancient energy, they were all converging toward one moment, one final clash. But no one knew what that moment would bring. Would humanity's last-ditch efforts be enough to unlock the power of the machines? Would the warships above decide that the time had come to strike? Or was there something else, something more terrifying waiting to be unleashed, far beyond anyone's control? The world held its breath, unaware that the tipping point was closer than anyone could imagine. The sudden burst of light from the rift above Earth had shattered the silence, signaling that whatever had been dormant for centuries was now stirring. The warships shifted in the sky, their massive forms slowly aligning, as though preparing for something monumental. The ground below seemed to respond in kind, vibrating with an energy that no one could explain. The machines, ancient and dormant for so long, hummed louder, the vibrations increasing as though they too were coming alive. People across the globe could feel it. Something was about to happen, something that would change everything. Dr. Lyons and her team were racing against time, the data flooding her screen faster than she could process. The signals from the alien ships were no longer fragmented. They were clear, direct, and terrifying. The warships had begun to converge in unison, their movements coordinated, as if they were preparing to initiate something far worse than anyone could have imagined. The energy in the atmosphere was unbearable, thick with the promise of a coming storm. The moment of reckoning was near. But just as humanity braced itself for the worst, something unexpected happened. The relics deep beneath the Earth's surface began to activate in a way no one had anticipated. The young engineer, who had been working tirelessly alongside the military and scientific teams, watched in shock as the ancient devices started to glow with a strange, unnatural light. The machines, which had been dormant for millennia, were now pulsing with energy. The energy surge wasn't just emanating from the machines. It was coming from the Earth itself, and it was building faster than anyone could track. A massive earthquake rattled the region, sending shockwaves across the planet. Buildings trembled, the sky lit up with strange auroras, and the warships above seemed to react in real time, their massive forms shifting as if they were connected to the energy. The Earth was awakening. The conflict had shifted from being about alien invaders to something much more profound. The alien ships were not the only ones trying to harness Earth's power. Someone or something had been waiting for this moment as well. In a moment of utter confusion, a second signal flared to life, far more powerful than anything Dr. Lyons had seen before. It was not just a signal. It was a command. The air seemed to ripple with it. The young engineer's eyes widened as he saw the energy readings spiking off the charts. The machines had not been relics from an ancient civilization. They were part of something much older, far more powerful, and capable of altering the balance of the universe itself. And then came the most shocking revelation. The alien ships, which had been hovering above Earth for weeks, were not the only ones waiting for this moment. There were others, hidden, silent, and waiting for the very same energy surge to trigger their awakening. The warships, once thought to be the primary threat, now seemed like pawns in a much larger game, one that had been unfolding for centuries. As the machine's energy continued to grow, Dr. Lyons realized the terrible truth. The signals, the ships, the awakening technology, they were all part of a larger cosmic event, one that had been set in motion long before humanity even knew what was at stake. This wasn't just about Earth's survival anymore. The entire galaxy, and possibly more, was teetering on the edge of a cataclysmic shift, a battle for power on a scale humanity couldn't possibly comprehend. The stakes had just been raised to an unimaginable level. With the alien ships preparing for what seemed like an inevitable strike and Earth itself about to release a power no one could control, the world was now caught in a race against time. Was humanity's awakening the final piece of a larger puzzle, or were they about to unleash a force that could annihilate everything? And who, or what, were the hidden players waiting for the Earth's power to surge? The mystery deepened, and the world held its breath as the unseen war began to reach its boiling point. The ground trembled violently as the ancient machines hummed louder, their energy surging through the Earth's crust. The sky above, once calm, was now ablaze with swirling colors as the warships shifted in unison, almost as if they were synchronizing with the planet's pulse. Humanity had reached the precipice of a conflict that no one fully understood, and yet there was no turning back. The world had watched as the rift above grew wider, and now it seemed to split open completely, revealing a massive ship that eclipsed the stars themselves. It wasn't just an invasion anymore. It was a reckoning. Dr. Lyons was at the heart of it all, standing in front of her monitors, desperately trying to make sense of the chaos unfolding. The signals from the warships had become almost deafening, and the air was thick with static. The once clear messages from the ships were now overlapping, distorting, and sending waves of fear through every corner of the Earth. But then, something changed. The frequencies, which had been erratic and overwhelming, suddenly fell into alignment. The machines below and the warships above seemed to pause as if waiting for something. The young engineer, deep underground in the research facility, watched in awe as the glowing devices began to merge, sending a pulse of light into the very heart of the planet. It wasn't just energy. It was communication. For the first time, humanity could hear the message loud and clear. It wasn't a command nor an attack. It was a warning. The machines weren't relics of the past. They were a safeguard, an ancient defense system put in place long before humanity had ever existed. They weren't meant to fight the aliens. They were meant to stop something far worse, something that was now emerging from the rift. As the massive ship above Earth finally broke free from the rift, the sheer size of it cast a shadow across entire continents. But the true horror was not the ship itself. It was what was following it. A second wave of ships, much larger and far more menacing, descended from the darkness of space. These ships, unlike the first, were not silent. They moved with purpose, and their weapons were unlike any. The message flashed across the screen, lingering in the air like a dark omen. Asterisk, we are watching. Asterisk, those simple words were a reminder that humanity had just scratched the surface of something far greater than they could comprehend. The warships, once seen as invaders, were now understood to be guardians, protectors sent to stop a much older, more dangerous force from seizing control of the planet's energy. But the real question was who, or what, had sent this message. The cosmic players observing Earth were no longer a mystery. They had made their presence known, and they were not here to help humanity. In the aftermath of the invasion, there was a strange silence, one that left a feeling of unease. The alien ships that had fallen to Earth were no longer the focus. The warships above had withdrawn into the depths of space, their mission complete. Humanity had survived, but the victory felt hollow. The battle against the invaders had been won, but the true enemy had yet to show itself. There was no moment of celebration, just a quiet, unsettled world, slowly coming to terms with the fact that the war was far from over. Dr. Lyons, having been at the heart of the discovery, stood outside, looking up at the sky, her mind racing. The signals had stopped, but the threat remained. She couldn't shake the feeling that the message asterisk, we are watching asterisk, was just the beginning. Earth had been a pawn in a much larger game, and she knew the stakes were higher than ever. The ancient defense systems had activated in time to stop the immediate threat, but it was clear now that humanity's role in this cosmic struggle was far from over. They had drawn the attention of forces far older and more powerful than anything they could have imagined. The young engineer, too, stood in the facility, reflecting on everything that had happened. The machines had stopped glowing, their energy fading as quickly as it had surged. But in the quiet aftermath, he understood something essential. Earth was no longer the same. The relics had been more than just ancient technology. They had been part of something much larger, something that linked Earth to the stars in ways humanity had never understood. And now, with the alien warships gone and the Earth's energy systems in flux, the question was not whether humanity would survive. It was what kind of role they would play in the unfolding story of the universe. The world's governments scrambled to piece together what had happened, but no one had answers. The mysterious message had left everyone on edge. Was Earth truly safe, or had the cosmic players simply decided it wasn't the right time to strike? No one knew for sure. What they did know was that Earth had been chosen, marked in some way as a key piece in a larger game, and the warships above. They weren't gone for good. They were watching, waiting. As the days passed, a new sense of unity began to emerge. Humanity had survived the invasion, but the real battle was far from over. The world knew now that they weren't alone in the universe. There were forces beyond their comprehension, and their future was tied to something much larger than any single nation or military force. The ancient machines, the warships, and the mysterious message were all part of a story that was just beginning. In the end, humanity's survival wasn't just a victory. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one that would reshape everything they thought they knew about their place in the cosmos. The Earth had been changed forever, and as the stars watched in silence, humanity could only wonder what would come next. Would they be ready when the true battle arrived? The warships were watching, and so, for the first time, Earth had to prepare for a new kind of fight, one that was no longer just for survival, but for their very place in the universe.